show. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about by fighting, you never get enough. But by yielding, you get more than you expected. And so I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And also I won't be doing a live this coming Saturday because it's Turkey Day ish family, so I want to spend some time with family and everything. So I won't be having a live this coming Saturday, but moving forward, I will be doing that some more. I will be talking about a recap episode, which is freedom is vital to love and attraction. So I believe that when someone loves somebody, it's really important to understand where that love came from, right? That love came from a certain place, which also comes from a place of attraction, right? You gotta be interested in that person. And usually what ends up happening in a relationship, let's just say the beginning of the relationship. Hi, Tracy. Let's just say the beginning of the relationship. First, it comes attraction. You're attracted to that person. Then some time comes by, it goes by, maybe it's a few months, maybe it's half a year, whatever. And then you start falling in love, right? So, but usually that's where it happens. Now, what happens during the quote unquote end of the relationship? The end of the relationship, this is where it happens. First, the attraction goes away, right? You're no longer interested in that person. You're no longer as attracted. Maybe it's certain things that they have done or whatever it is. Maybe they got a little comfortable. Maybe they got a little bit complacent and they stopped dating and courting, right? And so when that does happen, there's no more attraction. Interest goes away or slowly fades a little bit. It starts to diminish, and then usually after that, what happens is love follows that. So you're no longer in love with that person anymore because you're not. And usually what happens is most people that still decides to stay in that relationship, they settle for that relationship. And that's where you're platonic for that relationship. And that's where your platonic friends, your roommates, right? Maybe you're married and you're still in this relationship because you're like, well, it's better than getting a divorce. But it's like, well, what is really holding you back from trying to walk away from that relationship? Are there limiting beliefs? Are there certain things that's holding you back? And it's really important to have inner dialogue, right? Because happiness needs to come from the inside out, not the outside in. And I feel like that's so important. Most people get it the other way around, right? They always try to seek it from the outside, and they always get this, what you would call it, dopamine hits, right? It's like, I get it, but what happens when you no longer get that? What happens when your dependency on that, right? We call that codependency. What happens when you're so dependent on that and they don't give it to you? What happens there? And so freedom is vital to love and attraction. Okay, and the recap episode is on the slide of what is freedom. So let's talk about what is freedom. Okay, freedom is allowing the others to come and go as they please. Okay, and this also means that you set and enforce healthy boundaries, right? So you have this idea, right? This approach of I'm not gonna be as affected if you were here and if you were not. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't care I feel like some people take everything to the extreme, and whenever anyone does anything too extreme, it gets a little out of hand, right? The stoic approach isn't saying that you don't care about that person at all. It's just that you care about yourself more, but it's also you recognize that, hey, you know what? This person no longer is giving me this level of enthusiasm that they once had, and I'm trying my very best, right? And it's your job, especially as a guy, to detect certain things and be like, you know what, this person, it's like they're slipping away. I'm constantly trying. And when you try and you consistently, like, you're setting dates, they're telling you, no, I'm busy, and and it's like, you know what, this is no longer a relationship. Like, we haven't even slept together or whatever, right? Like, things happen. What's up, Zach? Welcome back. And so when all that happens, it's like, yeah, then you gotta voice that out. You gotta let them know. It's like, look, this is not a relationship. This is not what I want, right? And you gotta let them know. And depending on how they handle it, that's how they operate, right? No, I just want to see if this is not lopsided. Anyways, so freedom is love, right? To Freedom is vital to love and attraction. Okay? Freedom is your compelling reason not to message her and find out where she is. Okay, and that's just an example. And the example is, look, I'm not messaging you because I don't trust you. And a lot of people do that, right? And most people, they don't act consistently to how to really to how to really feel. You know what I mean? They don't act consistently to that. And what I mean by that is they're doing it out of a place of desperation. They're doing it out of a place of coming from a place of weakness. I'm messaging you because I'm afraid that you might be doing something sketchy, right? That's not love, right? That's just that's codependency, right? I need to make sure that you're not doing anything wrong behind my back, right? And that's some insecurities that you might have to deal with, right? And maybe it's because you've been cheated on or something has happened to you. And when those things happen to you multiple times, then hey, you know what? Maybe you got to look at yourself and be like, yo, why am I attracting all these people? Why? Right? Let's see what Zach said. I had a great relationship potential, but I felt like I was being used and expressing my feelings, but they were ignored. I remember you was telling me about that. You felt like you were, being like an ATM card, and I think that's what you were saying last time. Assuming that that's what you were saying, right? Is this the same person, Zach? But anyways, let's move on. Um, so a lot of people they say certain things, right? Hey, I'm calling you. I just want to make sure that you're okay. But in reality, they're not. They're just checking up on them just to see if they're not doing something sketchy, right? Coming from insecurity, anxiousness, jealousy, right? But instead, you really want to understand, like, maybe, look, why are you jealous? Why do you get so insecure? Why are you so anxious all the time? Because this anxious energy is not a really calm energy. It's you're anxious because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? And so you start playing things in your head and you start believing in it. And that's when your mind really, really messes you up. All right. So how do I get to have a better relationship with jealousy, right? So, and here's the thing: I used to be a really jealous person. I really was, and it's because I was never taught, and I thought it was normal because hey, guess what? Everyone around me does it, so it means that it's normal. But it's like no, if I want to have a good relationship with the emotions that I have, then I have to be one. I have to educate myself, and then not only educate myself, but also apply the things that really causes me to be like, hey, you know what? They're just having a good time. Let them have a good time. Because here's the thing: if they're gonna cheat on you, they're going to cheat. There's nothing you can stop from a cheater. So what does that mean? It means that Mitchell, you really have to vet your prospects a little bit. You gotta look for qualities in that person. So what does that mean? It means that as much as you have feelings for this person for whatever reason, maybe they look amazing or whatever, they have a nice body, whatever. It could be anything as shallow to I love their kindness, right? But you have to look at that person's character. What is their character like, right? Do they value commitment? Do they value loyalty, right? Do they value communication? Do they let you know, hey, I'm gonna be here for this time, and do they mean it? So do they have integrity? Like all these certain things that a lot of people look past just because this person's hot or this person is like the best thing that I could ever get. It's like you gotta look past just the shallow part. That's what I'm saying. But really, so I had to really sit down and have a conversation with myself and be like, look, Mitchell, is this why? So I followed those trail whys, and I highly suggest you guys do that too. Follow your whys and be like, why am I mad all the time, or why am I jealous, or why am I like this? Because then you finally get to know yourself a little bit more. The problem is, or the difficulty of that is, most people don't like to dive deep into that because usually it's I would say recycled feelings that comes back up and it's uncomfortable, right? But the only way to punch fear in the face is to face it, right? And just approach it and be like, this, I know this not going to be comfortable. I know it's going to suck, but I believe that if I can consistently do it enough, I will get better. I'll get out of that situation, right? And so I could continue on about this more and more, but instead, I'm just going to go into my slides right now. All right. So, topic: By fighting, you never get enough, but by yielding, you get more than you expected. And show of hands or press one, right? If you guys agree with this, like, do you guys believe that by yielding you get more than you expected? You're like, damn, I didn't expect all this to happen, right? And it's an amazing feeling because you're not expecting it, right? You're not like, hey, I need that. And sometimes you can have those feelings. You're like, damn, I earned it. That's different than me expecting it to be given to me. You know what I mean? So let's talk about strength and weaknesses. Okay. What's up, Brand? Yeah. So strength versus weakness, right? So this doesn't mean that you don't go after what you want, and absolutely you have to take massive action. So if you guys aren't familiar with Tony Robbins, I highly suggest you guys listen to him. He's one of the greatest self-help person out there. Also, read books if you have time. They spend a I can't stress how much, and you don't need to read a million books. You just need to read that one great book multiple times. You know what I mean? And that finally let that sink into your head, right? One of the great books that I have behind me, I don't know if y'all see it, but it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Highly suggest that. At least read that once a year. You know what I mean? Stay afloat. But anyways, strength versus weaknesses, right? So you still go after what you want. Take massive action. And the difference is in pursuing and going versus wanting it because you're desperate. Because anytime you push out this desperate energy, it's kind of like you're devaluing yourself. And nobody wants to be around someone that's not an addition to their life, right? So if someone's coming to you begging to be in your life, what does that really show about who they are and what's their character like, right? Do they really truly love and value themselves? And if they don't, then it's like, why would I put myself in this deficit? I want someone that comes into my life that adds value to my life as much as I'm adding value into theirs. And I think that's key to a relationship, where you don't lose yourself in a relationship. You are not one person. You are two completely separate people with different lives, but yet you share something in common, which is the love that you share for each other, right? But but by understanding love, you also need to understand how attraction works, right? Now, what I mean by attraction is masculine and feminine energy. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but with masculine energy, it's about purpose, drive, breaking through barriers. And with feminine energy, it's more about the love, the bonding, the connection. What are we? How come you don't call me no more, right? Instead, usually with masculine energy, the guy starts acting like the girl in the relationship, and that's where it causes this separation of sexual polarity. Because when a guy starts acting more like the girl in the relationship, it destroys the sexual polarity. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, between masculine and feminine energy. So Sabrina, so let's see. So the difference is pursuing and going versus wanting it out of being desperate. So whether it's trying to prove a point in an argument or going after what you want in life, be careful not to become too hasty, right? Haste makes waste. I don't know who said that. I heard it from my coach, but I don't know who it came from. But haste makes waste, right? Anyone, you ever maybe you were walking in a mall and someone's like trying to like sell you something, and maybe you were a little interested, but then all of a sudden they're quick to like, hey yo, let's close this deal, come on, like give me that cat. It's like, why are you so quick to try to sell this whatever product to me? Like, if you really believe that your product is that good, it could sell itself. All you have to do is educate me. You don't need to force me, right? The same thing applies when it comes to being in a relationship, especially when a guy approaches into that relationship, or maybe he's in a dating phase. It's really important that the guy doesn't become too hasty, because the moment he does that, and especially if she's a lady of value, maybe she's very pretty or whatever, right? Because guys, we fall in love with our eyes a lot quicker. And so she's going to detect that shit right away, right? So she's gonna be like, no, I don't want this. Like, you're obviously trying to lock me down into this relationship because maybe in some way, shape, and form, you're afraid that maybe another guy will show up and take me off of you, right? But if you really truly love and value yourself, you're going to let it come naturally, right? You're still going to set dates. You're still going to line up dates for yourself. And until you're exclusive, you don't have to just only exclusively see her. You allow her. Please go ahead. Go for talk to other guys. But you're coming with this idea or this mentality, and you're not going to tell her this, but you're approaching with the mentality of, I'm going to be her greatest option, but I'm also not just going to settle for one person until I am exclusive. Now that there's a difference, right? Unless you're exclusive, you could date and see other people. Go ahead, right? And who doesn't want to have a best option in their life, right? But then you will become their best option because you're constantly working on yourself, and that's why you're here. You guys are here, right? So that's coming from a place of strength, right? Um, Now, when it comes to trying to convince somebody in an argument, right? And how many times has someone just tried to yell and scream just because they didn't win that argument? They feel like they need to voice it, turn up the volume a little bit in their in their throat or whatever, right? Maybe coming from the diaphragm, but they feel like they need to be louder to try to convince you, and that's how they've always gotten through life, right? But when we are certain with what we know, and we are right, it is essential to ease people into our point of view gently. So what if you know that eating broccoli is better for you or eating vegetables is better for you? You don't need to try to convince somebody. All you have to do is just let them know, and you'd be like, hey, you probably noticed too yourself. It's just maybe there's other things stopping you, right? So, or maybe it's like, hey, you know what? The relationship that you have with this other person right now, and I get it. You're having some problems with your boyfriend, and hey, I'm interested in you, but I'm also a person that stands like, hey, I don't mow another man's lawn. Like, until you get that situated. Yo, what's up, Jackie? Checking in. Yeah, until you get that situated, I'm not gonna participate in this. Like, let me know when you're single and when you're done with this relationship, because I don't want to be caught in between. And there's many reasons to not be in that position. One, you don't know how violent the other person is, but also it's like you're staying away from drama. You just want to have a good life. Someone that's easygoing, easy to get along with. That's not just rebounding back and forth because they don't know where they're at. And I'd much rather have someone that's ready, that's willing, and that's able to be in a relationship, or at least maybe consider that. Like, are you even dating potential? And if you are, great, let me see where it goes from there, instead of just seeing that person as, oh my god, this person is beautiful, I can't wait for you to become my girl. Like, no, absolutely not. I get it, you're gorgeous, but I still need to see who you are as a person and what's your character like, because everybody needs to work on themselves, and the more you value yourself, the better you could set yourself in a way where standards, there's certain standards, and knowing your standards is by understanding what are your core values. What are your core values that you really hold close? Are there certain goals that you have, right? So take all those into consideration. But yeah, you can never win the goodwill of the other person if all you have to do is just yell at them. You can't force an opinion, and you don't try to change somebody by force. It will only kind of agitate them, right? You're only gonna piss them off, you're gonna annoy them, right? And the only way someone is willing to change is if they have a conscious choice and internal dialogue with themselves. That's the only way. So instead of trying to yell at somebody and trying to convince them by force, but like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, right? Why don't you just ask them questions? And here's the thing about asking great questions. When you ask someone questions, guess what? They feel like they have the power of choice within themselves. And they feel like it's not you forcing that information on me, but they feel like they have control. So when you ask them, like, why do you think it was okay for you to yell at me like that? They really believe that, hey, yo, now I'm going to convince you. But you already know from the get-go, from the beginning, it's like they're wrong. But you're not saying that they're wrong. You're letting them choose that they're like, oh yeah, you know, that was kind of fucked up. I probably should not have done that, and I'm sorry. And you'd be like, yeah, no, it's okay. You know what? Just don't let that happen again, right? And you calm about it, and also you set yourself different, separate from all the other people, because everybody yells, and most people yell and most people scream, right? Should I vocalize these values on my first or second date that I'm looking for a good time? Easygoing girl, keep it light. I mean, so you're trying to set this thing, right? I'm glad you asked that. So you're trying to set this mood, right? Where I love to have fun. I love to have a great time, right? And what you're trying to convey isn't, I'm trying to get into a relationship. I'm just out here. I'm just trying to have fun and have a great time. And if we just so happen to have a great time, well, guess what? Maybe we spend a little bit more time together. Maybe, right? But then it's not by you trying to force them to try to lock them down, because ladies, especially of those who have value, they're going to detect that shit and be like, hey, look, you know what? I'm not, why would I want to get locked down? No girl ever wants to get locked down into a relationship. Even those that has high expectations, or high if they like you, let's just say on a scale of 1 to 10, and they like you at an 8 a lot, you have more room for error, but it doesn't mean that then that you're invincible. You know what I mean? So yeah, you could voice that. You could actually be like, you know, I love to have a great time. I love having great people around me. And here's also a really interesting thing too as well. Whenever you guys are on a date, both guys and girls, okay, you always want to talk great about other people. And this is not a tactic, okay? You just want to talk about good things about other people. And the reason why is because when you say good things about other people, they associate that with you being this positive person. So, for example, in a workforce, I know there's going to be people that you dislike, but even though you dislike them, speak good behind their back. Okay, maybe this person, they do it a little bit slower, but at the same time, they do get it done, right? They do get it done. And guess what? You're not going to be that person that involves in drama, okay? You might be able to listen to some other people, but you speak good about other people and how they're going to associate that with you too. And it's a really good thing to keep practicing, okay? Not just workforce, but I'm talking about other people around you too as well. Okay, maybe it's family, maybe it's your exes or whatever it is. Like, speak good about other people. You would thank me later, okay? Um, anyways, you can't force an opinion. Start by so anyways, you could ask questions. Need to work on that. Yeah, that's still on me. I still have to work on that. I find myself like, damn, I just want to say certain things, but it's like, okay, that means I'm still human. Okay, I'm still human, but at the same time, it's like, what good does that get me if all I'm talking about is how bad Lily is doing, or Kiki is doing all this, And bad news always travel faster than good news. You ever notice, like, come on, if if I if I change my topic, right, and I got it a little bit more controversial, and I always talk about how, oh, these are red flags in women, you should not date these women, I'm gonna get a lot more women. I'm gonna get a lot more views. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get a lot more of this and that. But that's not what I like. That's not what I teach. You know what I mean? I teach people to be independent, to participate on their own rescue, and how to live an extraordinary life with the person that you're going to attract, right? Talking about people in a negative way on a date, could light the red light, lead the red light. It's a red flag, in my opinion, right? It's like, okay, if you're already talking about all these other people, what makes you think, like, I get it, we're having a great time now, but when we're not, what's going to happen? You're going to probably talk shit about me, right? Chances are you are. So do I really want to be around that? Or do I want someone that's easygoing and easy to get along with, that's ready, that's willing, that's able, that's enthusiastic, that's going, that want, like, go where you celebrate and not where you tolerate it. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's like in relationships, especially with people, is like they project how they feel onto the other person by ignoring reality. And when you ignore reality, you can ignore it, but you can't ignore the consequences that comes with it. And so when you do ignore reality, the consequences come, and then you suffer. Okay, suffering is a choice because you chose to ignore reality. I'm working on that, staying out of those type of negative things. Yeah. Um, But anyways, so if you're in this heated discussion, I get it, right? People trying to voice their opinion or whatever, and they're trying to force it down in your throat. Ask them questions. Ask them questions because, and we all know this when it comes to sales, right? Anyone that's asking the question has control of the conversation. So what made you think that was a good choice, or what made you want to do that, right? And they would explain themselves, and they're like, so I did this because of this. And we always voice how we feel about ourselves, right? And it gets you to pick out what type of person they are too, as well. Same thing when it comes to, like, hey, if you're trying to do business with somebody, you want to do business with someone that you trust, right? Not someone that's going to stab you in your back. So ask quality questions. Okay. Which is this another quote from Dale Carnegie: "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." So when you try to force an opinion onto someone, like maybe your certain beliefs that you have, right? You need to go vegan. You shouldn't eat meat because of X, Y, and Z. And like maybe you have convincing facts and all this. And it's like, look, if I can't, unless you're doing something that's like fucked up and hurting other people. And look, I get it. People that goes vegan for reasons, they have their particular reasons, right? I stopped eating meat for I went vegan for about a year too as well. But then a lot of other people, they were like convincing me. They're like, man, you need this, you need that. I'm like, can you stop? Like, I'm just trying to have a good time with you, man. Like, I'm trying to have a good time with you. I personally want to come here and spend a good time because you're my family. I want to hang around with you, you know? But you're making it really, really difficult for me to try to stay in this environment where it's almost becoming hostile. Like, it doesn't have to be like that just because you have certain beliefs. Now, I personally, I eat meat, not every day, but I eat meat because of my choice, not because other people convinced me. You know what I mean? And so that's my choice. But I didn't do it because of other people trying to convince me. You know what I mean? Because the more they tried to convince me, I still had my same opinion. I was like, look, I'm not gonna, no, that's not what I want. I feel great. I don't need you to tell me. It's like, and on top of that, it's like, what makes you so damn healthy? What do you do to take care of your health? It's like, you should be the last person telling me this. You know what I mean? Love me, but I'm not a cis, you know? But so a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion. So basically, you're not going to change someone's mind, right? You haven't changed anything besides irritating them, right? Empty victories. So learn to be happy with what you have while pursue all that you want, right? I'm obsessed with it, and I think it's healthy too. You're obsessed with meat. So empty victories. If you argue, give facts, statistics, maybe give numbers, right? You might win the argument. But you only receive empty victories. And you will never get your opponent's goodwill, right? And when I mean opponent, I'm talking about that opponent at that time. Meaning, let's just say it's your girl or it's your boyfriend, whatever. You will receive that empty victory. And that person was your opponent at that time because you have a disagreement. Now, here's also another important thing. Men, like I said, men who understands women do not argue with them. Okay? It means that you have disagreements and there's certain things that you don't really agree on. Now, does it really go against your values? maybe not. And if it doesn't, can you let that go? Or is your ego getting in the way of trying to win this, right? But also, you're not looking, don't look at it as, oh, she defeated me, now she's going to have less respect. But see, and that the reason why I say that is because look, you have to have boundaries. Look, I get it. You have the point. I agreed on that. Or I decided, hey, you know what? It's really not that. I don't want. I much rather talk about something else that's more important rather than focus onto one thing. And I get it. We could agree to disagree. You like certain things and I like certain things, and we could, as long as we're okay with that, then we can move along. But if it really goes against it, then maybe it's, maybe the right choice is not to be together, right? Because it's like, if it's really eating you up that much, then it's like, and you're unwilling to let that go, then there's certainly something else going on, and it's not about this argument or this disagreement anymore. You know what I mean? What do you say? Got the point. I'm gonna say got the point though. For real, it's like, quit comparing yourself to others, and you will see how far you really came. You know, I personally, I feel like I only understand a scratch. You know what I mean? For real, for real. You can't. I feel like I will be. I would, if I spend all this time understanding this, like I could have been like this mathematician already. I could have solved problems, right? I probably would have found a different planet. You know what I mean? Uh, but I like it. It's fun. It's enjoying. It's joyful. For me at least. So, anyways, empty victories. Um, in this case, maybe it's your lover, your coworker, your partner, whatever. If your point is right, gently lead them to your point. That's what I want to say. All right. If you know you're fucking right, all right. I'm gonna get demonetized. If you know you're fucking right, gently lead them to your point. Lead them to your point. Like, gently lead them. Here's why, right? And if they still decide that they want to, they're stuck in their own ways, well, then you have the ability to be like, okay, is this going to conflict with our relationship? Like, going down the line, is it gonna cause more problems? Is it gonna be brought up, right? Here's an example. Let's just say you're in a relationship. You had some infidelity. Okay, let's just say you're the guy in the relationship and you cheated on your girl, and from then on you said you wanted to change. You wanted to change and you wanted to change. Okay, now let's just say it's been 6 months, it's been a year, and your girl still brings that shit up. Okay, now you've been a little patient. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. Now, based off your actions, have you done anything that violated her trust again? Were you doing some shit on the side that made her feel a certain way, like, I have to sleep with one eye open, right? Have you given her all you trust? What's up, Kim? And if that did happen, okay, if that did, that's okay, chef. Welcome. And if that did, and if you never violated that trust after that, you made a mistake, you're a guy, you fucked up, then you have to let your woman know. It's like, look, if you can't let this go, if you can't, what's up, Elise? Yeah. So it's like, if you can't let that go, and I understand what I did was wrong in the past, and if you can't let that go, then maybe it's best not to be in this relationship, because it's unfair for you, because you have to live sleeping thinking that I might do something again or whatever. And it's unfair for me, because it's like, well, I haven't done anything after the fact, and I was transparent about it, right? So now it goes, then there's this dialogue that you have to have, this communication that you have to have with that person, right? And a lot of people, they can't do that, because a lot of the times they're bonded. What's your excuse? So yeah, anyways, I don't know how I tangent off to that, but anyways, so gently lead them to your point. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Life isn't about what you think, right? Being right is one thing, but also winning the heart of the other person will get you much further into that relationship, right? So it's like, is winning that argument really, is it really for your ego? Don't you think That could be like watch Netflix at home is better than none. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Explain that again, Elise. Okay. And also, here's the thing: if you are wrong, admit it quickly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Admit it quickly. If you're wrong, admit it quickly. You're right. You're right. Instead of saying I know, and that's another psychological fact or AKA tip. Tip. It's by letting them know. It's like, hey, you're right. You're right. I was wrong. I made a mistake. Right. It doesn't mean that you're submitting and be like, oh my god, master, like I fucked up. You're always right now. Like that's not true. But it's like if you made a mistake, own up to it. Own up to that mistake and admit it quickly. Okay. If you knew what you did was wrong, right? Because here's the thing: be humble or you will be humble. And I get it. A lot of people they act from this place of confidence, and to some degree, it could kind of bleed into cockiness. You know what I mean? And the reality is, if you're not humble, you will be humbled eventually. So, if you want a longer legacy, if you want to, if you want to have people to follow what you truly believe, you can't act like you're better than everybody. You know what I mean? Like you, there's always going to be someone that's better than me in other things. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, maybe you're better at this, and this is just what I know, and maybe we could share certain things. You see how collaborative that is? You see how welcoming that is? Versus like, I'm better than you. You need to listen to me. And I get it. There are bosses like that. You need to listen, and that's one thing I despised was when I was working, and I literally trained this person to become a leader. Okay, in this coffee shop, and I was, this is how you make a latte, this is how you make a cappuccino or whatever, right? They needed a shift supervisor, so she got promoted really quick. The moment she got promoted, I immediately felt the shift in the energy, like literally. And then on top of that, she felt like she had to tell me that you need to listen to me, Mitchell, because I'm your supervisor now. And I'm like, I don't need to listen to you at all right now because that's not how you communicate with me. I don't care if you're my manager. I don't care if you're the director. I don't care if you're the CEO. Let me go then. Let me go. Did I do something wrong? Right? But talk to me like a human. Talk to me like a human, and then we communicate. Um, Sounds like it's okay to lose the battle if you win the war. Yeah, it's not fun getting humble. It is not. Absolutely not. But that that shows how much more of a person that you can become, right? Because everyone's always like, it feels almost embarrassing, right, to lose, but it's, in reality you really win because it's kind of like this. It's no different than asking a quote unquote stupid or dumb question, right? Which is, it might sound stupid, it might sound dumb, right? Which is why most of the time you don't raise your hand. I raised my hand a lot. I asked a lot of dumb questions back then when I was in high school, right? And I was judged based off that. But then I'm like, well, you know what? I learned, and I was no longer stupid after asked that quote unquote stupid question. And it's like, hey, who's to say that you didn't even think about that question? I'm pretty sure you did, but you just acting like this. There's this front, right? There's no, I don't know. There could be better questions. Um, but what's up, Yaku? It's been a minute. How you been? All right, so admit quickly. Okay, so that was it. Moving on. Carl Jung. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. And that's the thing, right? Before trying to change the world, try cleaning up your room first. Me personally, I have a lot that I need to do on my end, so that I need to do. But certain circumstances, I'm still. Let's see. There's no dumb teachers. Is it? Okay. All right. So thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge, right? In other words, it's easy to judge someone out of context, not fully understanding both sides of the story, right? So, whenever I hear a story and I get it, it's what this person did wrong, and maybe they were wrong for what they did, but only a fool listens to one side of the story. It's like, okay, Maybe this person did all this thing because what do you do to them? And I get it. I'm listening. I'm hearing you out. I understand. It's not that I'm against you, but I still need to have this unbiased opinion because it's like, I get it. This person cheated on you, okay? This person cheated on you. It fucked up. But also, what do you do for this person to want to cheat on you? Was this person always a cheater? Okay. And if it was, then maybe that person was going to cheat on you anyways. Not to say that it was right on there. Like, it's still completely wrong. But also, it's like, maybe you were the catalyst. Did you say or do something that made this person want to cheat on you even quicker? Okay. So let's have this. So then you got to really listen to both sides and try to really resolve it, right? If I had it ear on the street, always know. On I had my ears to the streets, always know what's been going on during chat. So you eavesdrop. That's what you do, Yaku. Um. So really, what does this really say about the relationship you have with yourself, right? If you're this type of person that judges quickly, especially out of context, if you don't know the full side of both stories, you know what I mean? And it shows that by allowing things to come naturally, letting them come and go as they please, right? By understanding them too at the same time, right? You need to also voice your opinions. You got to voice what you want, what you need. What are some things that you're not willing to compromise, right? But a lot of people, they're quick to judge. They're quick to assume, right? Quick to make a conclusion out of things. Um, and I'm still like that sometimes too. But I find myself a little bit slower, okay? Slower, if you will, to not jump into that conclusion, which actually, those 1-2 seconds sometimes saves my ass. I'm like, okay, I didn't just assume, so I'm not making an ass out of you and me, right? Who's selling pizzas? All right, hold on, let's see. Yeah, so people that judge quick, that assumes certain things, right? They feel like you ever know those people, they seem like they have all the answers. They know everything. And that's one thing that not a lot of people enjoy being around. It's like they feel like they know everything at every given moment. It's like, are you an expert at this, or are you just talking out of your ass? Because if you really do know, there's a difference. But if you're acting like you know, then it's like, dude, how much validity do you have? Like, how much work have you done to work on to even be able to talk about it? So people have smartphones. But anyways, I'm going all over the place right now. Let me see where I'm at. Most people. Okay, so let's talk about people that's yelling in arguments, right? People who yell in the arguments, because most of the time they're usually fearful of one thing, right? They're fearful of, if you need to project in a certain volume, right, heightened volume, to try to convince somebody, then it's really like your argument is not really that strong. You lack a lot of intellect behind that. You don't really have enough to back yourself up, right? Maybe it's not just the intellect, but it's also like, hey, maybe you're fearful of losing because you constantly lose your life, but the only way of convincing other people is by yelling at them. It's like, look, I'm not here to have an argument. I get it. And if you don't want to communicate like an adult, and you want to just, pick up your toys from the sandbox and run away and be like, then it's like, well, then you can leave. You can leave, or I will leave. You know what I mean? That's why the whole go where you celebrate it, not where you tolerate it. That's something that I live by. I live by that. Yelling just shuts down communication because it's not communicating. No, it's not. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people, they feel like yelling is a way of trying to overpower somebody else. You might, like I said, you might win that argument, but like what Zach said, you're gonna lose the war, right? You're not gonna win that person's goodwill. But yeah. So let's talk about false advertisements, okay? Because in getting to know somebody, or maybe you're single, or maybe you you were in a relationship, you're no longer in a relationship, so now you're single, you're recently a bachelor or bachelorette or whatever, right? You're no longer in a relationship. And so you start working on yourself. And absolutely, and I think everybody should work on themselves. Health is very important. Health is wealth. And but most people don't stay consistent to that because they don't truly believe that, right? They don't believe that they only work enough just to get where they need and then be like, I don't need to put my best foot forward anymore, right? And that's usually where the decline or diminishing values into relationships or whatever it is, or maybe it's at work, right? Like if you think about it, most people work hard enough just to not to get fired. That's not the type of players that I want in my team. Because if you think about it, you get people that's kind of like C players, and then you get A players. They're eventually those A players are gonna be like, look, unless you get the C players out, A players are gonna dip. And you want, if you want an extraordinary life, you have to be around certain people that lifts you, not like just do just enough, just enough, right? And of course that's going to take time. But anyways, I false advertisement, right? So here, let's go on to this. What is false advertisement, right? So stop trying to fight and become someone you're not. Okay, whether it's maybe working out so that you could get that girl, or and some people they stay true to that, or they're half truths, right? They're the pseudo self, if you will. And I want to talk about this false advertisement because it has a lot to do with um, cognitive dissonance. And I dove a little bit deeper into it and I tried to understand why. Why, as humans, we need this, or not need cognitive dissonance, but it's like, why do we struggle so much with identity, right? With who we are as a person. And as humans, here's what I found out. As humans, we have a natural drive for consistency, right? Consistency in everything that we do. So we find comfort in consistency too, right? Like, say for example, you ever notice when you're in college, you always sit, even though there's no assigned seating, you tend to always sit nearly, usually if that seat isn't taken, you always go to that same spot. Another example, at the gym, I always see this lady. She's always at that corner of the gym, and she sets up right before class. Like that's her spot. I feel like if I ever decide to like dance over there, I'm like, hey, do you want your spot back? Right? I feel like it's her territory. You know what I mean? Um, but we find we need consistency, and I feel like that consistency gives us certainty. You know what I mean? Like this is ours. That's why being territorial. Anyways, we have this natural drive for consistency, and because our mental and emotional distress can definitely be affected by our health and well-being when there's cognitive dissonance. You got to mark your territory. You got to piss, right? So here's the thing with cognitive dissonance. When your beliefs and actions are not aligned, it will cause distress. So this mental distress that you have, this emotional distress, right? And so what do we do? What do humans do to try to resolve this problem, right? How do we resolve cognitive dissonance? Something, and I forgot who said this, but something has to give. Either it's your belief system or the action, okay? So you can modify your belief system or you can modify that action. And so that's why whoever this doctor or this person was, you can modify it, right? So say for example, right? So maybe let's just say your belief is to not eat meat, right? Or not you, Yaku, you don't count. You've been plant-based your entire life. But so let's just say your belief is to not eat meat, but let's just say you get a little drunk, you're with your friends, you're hungry, your standards start dropping a little bit because maybe alcohol is involved, whatever. And so you're like, you got a taco. It's a steak carne asada taco. So you took one bite. You ate meat, right? Now, so you finally ate meat. You will either, so the thing is, you will rationalize about it. Either You rationalize about it, about that one bite being that it's no big deal, right? Or you might just say like damn, like I really like I fucked up. I can't let that slip again. Like I can't believe that happened, right? Um, the stronger the belief, the more distress you will have when it's conflicted. So, um, that's why we strive for that type of consistency so much. It's like if you have a strong belief in something, in the moment it's being violated or being conflicted, right? Something that's not aligned with how what you believe and what your actions are, depending on that level. And I also believe that your personality has a lot to do with that too as well. Maybe not as much, but the intensity and that belief that you have, that's really important because we need that type of consistency in our lives. That's why I titled this title false advertisement, because most people, they live in this place where this false advertisement is, I need happiness to come from the outside in. So I look for happiness, maybe going out, maybe I meet certain people, and yeah, those are great things. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it needs to come from a good place, from the inside out, rather than I need happiness from the outside to come in, right? And so when that does happen, and the reason why I say it's false advertisement is because you're not really being aligned to who you are truthfully. And when that gets a little disrupted, that's why there's this cognitive dissonance. And maybe it's because you might not even be aware of that too. And a lot of people, they're not aware of certain things. And so if you're not aware of that, and you're unconsciously conflicting with your own alignment with what your thoughts and your actions, your behaviors, then it's going to, your life is gonna feel a little off balance. Is you're gonna find like, damn, like I don't really know myself, right? Like you keep looking at a mirror, but you still don't know who you are, right? And that's why I call it false advertisement. Some people like they it, look, I'm not, working out is a good thing. Being healthier is a good thing. But the reason why I say that's like a false advertisement, or this is a false thing, is because, and I'm not perfect too. So I'm a part of this too, right? Whereas like this false advertisement is because you want certain things. So you do that so that you can get it. But once you get it, what happens? Does that standard start slipping? Do are you do you not work out as much anymore, or does your nutrition stop, or do you lower your standards because maybe it's like there's certain people that you hang around with, right? That you want them to like you or whatever it is. And that's why it's so important to really understand who you are first, then start attracting those right people that makes you feel excited when you're around them, rather than being around someone that's kind of like depleting who you are, depleting your energy. And you know, I totally believe that when it comes to social media, like not every no, for sure, not everybody's on your side, not everybody's on your team, right? And it's like you're trying to gather, yeah, social vampires, right? They just suck like the energy out of you. And it's really understanding like, damn, hey, maybe I have 10, 20 friends that I have, but like I don't know, every single time I'm around that, I feel like I can't be myself. Like I like to be wild. I want to talk to certain strangers. Like for me, if I'm in a group setting, I want to talk to certain strangers. So I'll talk, and they'll be like, Mitchell, why do you do that? Like, because I like talking to people. I want to get to know other people. And if they don't want to talk to me, that's their choice. But if they're willing, why not? I feel like we're social creatures. Why not talk? Why? Because it makes you feel uncomfortable, because it makes you feel embarrassed. You're not doing anything. I'm talking to them. Now, if I'm causing you harm, that's different, right? If I'm inviting danger into your life, that's different, right? But if I'm just talking to somebody and it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, then maybe it's best that I am not in this group anymore, or I separate myself a little bit so that I could be who I want, who I am, not what I should be around you, you know? And that's why I really like that quote a lot, which is you must be who you are, and what you should be is not important, right? So, you know, a lot of life is about unlearning a lot of things that you were once, you thought you were, right? And A big part of it was Pokemon too. I stopped playing Pokemon. I stopped collecting the toys or cards or whatever because I thought it was childish. I thought it was childish. But I was like, but that's the one thing, especially when I was a kid, that I remembered. I was like, it got me a lot away from a lot of trouble, right? Like during that time, you take that back. Take what back? But I was like, yeah, like it just it got me out of a lot of trouble because a lot of the friends that I had were dealing with like other things that I did not particularly like. Like I don't want to be involved in those things that you are doing. And so Pokemon was one of those things. It's an investment. Now it is, right? But that's how I felt. Like Pokemon did not. I remember I was talking to a good friend, and she was like, "Yeah, that card's like 200-300 bucks." I was like, "Oh my god, I bought this for 300." Now that card is worth way more than $300. You know what I mean? I was like, God damn, Pokemon's different now, right? But before it wasn't, right? It was childish. It's almost as if you had to buy like pads for your girl. It's like, yeah, she can't go out because she's hurting, so you going out, you buying pads for her. And it's like, then the cashier is like, luckily there's self-checkout now, right? But still, it's kind of embarrassing to buy Pokemon. Anyways, not the point. Point is, I let go of the things that I really truly enjoyed, and people thought it was childish, and I thought it was too. And I conformed to that, and it's like, look, I enjoy. Same thing for video games. Like I love video games, but I'm not gonna spend my entire life playing it unless that's my profession. But and who knows? Who knows? But yeah, like that's not my. That's I do things I enjoy, but I need to know what is more important. So do the important things first, right? Do the important things first, and then then get a little bit of free time for yourself, right? But also, you the point of it is to how you manage your time, right? And I feel like I could manage my time a little bit better to myself, and so I'm working in ways right now to how to properly, in a smarter way, if you will, to manage my time, right? Manage my time. How can I get more done in a shorter period of time, right? A great way is also, taking 5-minute breaks every 30 minutes. That's another one. So I've been doing that, and it has been helping. Because if you think about it, let's just say you take 4 breaks, right? It's only 20 minutes, right? Say 4 breaks. So every 30 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. 5 times 4, 20 minutes, right? So you took a total of 20-minute break, but every 30 minutes you took 5. Not only does your productivity goes up, you don't need to do 2 hours and then take a 30-minute break. Because after the first hour or 45 minutes, it starts to decline. I don't know about you, Yaku. Maybe you zone in. You're like, damn, I love this. I could keep drawing, painting, and do all that. Maybe you can go for hours, right? Me personally, especially if I'm reading and like as much as I'm like mentally stimulated, I'm like, yeah, I need a break. I need a break. I might need some food, So, anyways, I feel like I'm not even talking about the same topic anymore. I keep tangent out, but anyways, let me go back into this, which is by fighting you never get enough, but by yielding you get more than you expected. And I want to tie it back into relationships, okay? Because in a relationship, it's about giving, right? Love is an act. Love is about giving. It's about seeing what the other person and sharing what you could afford. And you can't give what you don't have, right? And you never want to be in this place of being desperate, coming from a place of desperation, because it will cause the other person to want to be away from you. Now, if you start to see that, hey, you know what, this person's not really sharing the same level of enthusiasm, or they're kind of like, they don't really respect you anymore or whatever, then it's like, well, okay, maybe you could kind of step away from that, right? You can match and mirror their feelings, or also you could communicate with them, right? You communicate with them, and if they still decide that you know what, you're not as worthy as you once were, right? And maybe it's because you slipped up and you stopped doing the things that you did in the beginning. Then maybe it's on you, right? It's on you. But forcing somebody to try to be with you or whatever, like you would never get more. But by encouraging other people, by gently leading, by consistently aligning yourself with people, same like-minded people with similar goals and similar values, you're going to be in a much better place. You're going to attract better people into your life, right? And so instead of having whoever comes at you and you're like, hey, this is my these are my friends now, you get to finally choose who you want. But first you have to be willing to be okay being alone, because you really have to take a step back and be like, you know what, I might this might be a lonely road for a little bit. And are you okay with that? And if you are okay with that, then you're going to start continue to work on yourself, right? Be 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 become this magnet of who you want to become while still pursue all that you want, right? And you're going to be in a much better place. But I don't know, maybe it's becoming more of an adult. You could call it maturing or whatever, right? Um okay. Okay, like Yakuya said, I draw 10 to 11 when I do the Saturday live drawings. Oh wow. Lets me stay focused. If I was at home, can this okay, comfy couch. Oh my god, I totally get that. The comfy couch does distract me. Come best friends. Wait, to avoid that, do other things instead. Probably for the better. Oh, what I miss over there. But yeah, um, don't try to force shit to happen, right? And when great things come to you, celebrate your victories. My best friend is in my bed, especially when I. Why is your best friend in your bed? That's my first question. Step Brothers. You didn't watch that movie Step Brothers, Mitchell? No, I don't think so. Maybe. What do you mean by that? You said, did we just become best friends? Yeah, I don't have a lot of pop culture references. Yeah, yeah. You know me, Yaku. Since 2 years ago, I don't really watch that many movies. I think the last thing I watched was Cobra Kai. I have, you know what I really like doing now? It's going to coffee shops, different coffee shops, and like really sit down and being able to kind of dive in and really be who I am and just like jot things down, right? Um, I felt like, especially during the third slide, the fourth slide, I felt like I could have done better on that. I was like, Mitchell, what are you talking about in here? But you know, there were certain things that connected, and there's certain things I was like, Mitchell, what the hell are you talking about? So, and that's because I didn't proofread as much, and that's on me. Damn it, Mitchell. Coffee shops are great places to, yeah. Speaking to strangers, when you're forced to do something, and I get it. You got to do things that you don't like sometimes. You really do, right? There's certain things. Do I enjoy lifting weights? No, absolutely not. I don't. If I could get to where I want to be without doing it, absolutely, right? Your best friend's on your bed, and your bed is your best friend. So who do you gotta kick out? The bed or your best friend? Um, yeah. But anyways, it's letting things naturally come, right? It's letting them come to you. Your best friend's name Betty, Teddy. Coffee shop is one of the best places to relax. It is. Working there is different though, for sure. Working there, you could tell that to Justin. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, this was fun. Also, this Saturday I won't be doing a live. I know, I know. Uh, I personally want a little bit of a break, just for one day, because also I was like, yo, it's family day, it's family. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna have a good time. I'm gonna chill, relax. Got a little Friendsgiving going on. I could wake up and just go there, eat a little bit more, So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm not going to have a live this Saturday, but I will continue on and have twice a week lives as usual, but just not this coming Saturday. So yeah, I didn't know. Like I had to really think about it today. Like I was like, but I never not do it unless I'm like I can't, right? Like usually it's the time when I'm completely like bedridden. Then I'm like, yeah, I can't even talk, right? I can't barely open my eyes. So that's usually, but I was like, you know what? Why don't you just take a little bit of a break, Mitchell? Just take one day. Behind the scene. Yo, Yaku, you're always hustling. I see you, man. You're a hustler. I would deserve it. Betty Teddy. Thank you, thank you, Tracy. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little short break. Just one day. It feels nice. It feels nice. Yeah. And then I think I might actually use more of that time to kind of like just read a little bit more too as well, right? Dive into other things that I'm interested in. And then hopefully I can share with y'all. But yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's only like you see it though, right? It's like what, twice a week. It's been like that for like the past 2 years. I don't think I've consciously decided that I wanted to, because I still like doing it. Like even for me saying it, it's like, what, Mitchell? You're not sick and you taking a break? Like you being lazy? And yeah, maybe. Do I need a break? I don't think I need it. Do I want it? A little bit, right? And I felt like, yeah, Thanksgiving break would be a good time. Yeah. So, celebrities know what they getting into. What? But I had a great time today. I had an absolutely great time. And I was just sitting at a coffee shop and I saw one of my old clients and I was like, hey, I'm going back. If I was like, how you been though? Like, what you been up to? And da 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 da. And she was like, yeah, it's been so long. I haven't really been working out, and I feel like I need to, but like the drive isn't as there anymore. And I don't know what I would do, but also need help. And I was like, I'm going there. But I'm gonna be real honest with you. I was like, I'm only accepting people that are fun and easygoing. I don't want to I don't need someone that's like nitpicky about every little thing. You know what I mean? And I want to be around the people. I get it. You giving me money. I get it. But just because you give me money doesn't entitle you to be an ass. So I only want to have good people around me. So, and you're one of those. So if you are interested, there is an open slot for you. And this is directly coming from me. Why? Because you're staring at me and I'm telling you this right now. And she was like, yeah, no, that'd be great. And I was like, yeah, let's schedule something for next week and we move forward with that and see where it goes, right? And let me know if you really are committed because I would love to see you succeed. And she was like, yeah, I remember this. And I was like, me too. And I was like, let's get that shit back and rolling, you know? Um, the week is not complete without 2 times a week lives. Okay, let's see. Deserve a break. Even have signed Mitchell's headshot back. Black Friday. No, what? All right, no breaks. No breaks for being famous. The price of fame. Yeah. Well, also, like I said, like when things start to roll a little bit, right? Then I might have a even longer period where I'm not gonna be doing lives as much. Like for at least I don't know how many weeks. But then I will explain it afterwards. But I'm not gonna dip out on y'all. If that's what you're thinking. I'm not leaving. But yeah. So there's going to be that time whenever it is. But I appreciate y'all as always. You guys are always showing up. And yeah, you're helping me out a lot. And it makes it fun, to have good people around, So BTS doesn't have many breaks. I think they are having a big break right now. They're not. Don't they have to go to like? Well, I heard Jungkook is doing the opening for like a Super Bowl. Is that what's happening? He's not allowed to have long pauses on a slide. I still dance though. I think okay. I could I could continue dancing. I would I'll post reels, all right, or shorts or whatever, and I just start dancing. All right, since you can't see me live twice a week, when that time comes, then I'll just do a little dance. You know, that's why I could give back. That's what I could do. Just imagine I just vanished. I no longer post. I just disappear. I wouldn't do that to y'all though. But Yaku always coming in, being an MVP, right? Tracy and Chev, thank you for always being here. I really appreciate y'all. But yeah, I think. Do I want chicken? Do I want KFC? That's my question right now. I don't even know. Okay, Yaku, I don't know. Wait, hold on. Yaku, wait. What new ones? I can tell the difference. Fill in while you have a break. We want new ones? New what? Oh, they come back to 2025. That's good enough. You have an ad, some dancing. Please don't disappear. Yeah. Can't wait though. Can't wait. Thank you. Yeah. I still have a good deal on my Uber Eats. I think I might use that. You know, it's surprisingly that sometimes ordering on Uber Eats it's cheaper than going there and buying it and picking it up. So I think I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. I can't. Tomorrow is kind of like my chill day. I get to see some people, so can't wait. Mitchell do some reviews on what chicken. I want some spicy chicken. Yeah, cool. I'll give you some. Yeah, cool. Does it disgust you if I were to like make you smell KFC? Like, would that bother you? Does KFC smell good? Can I ask you that? It does bother you. Okay. Does it at least smell good? Press 1 if it smells good. Press 2 if it smells horrendous to you. Like, ugh, like I'm a puke and shit my pants at the same time. Press 2. But not gonna make a fuss. Okay. I like Uber Eats, but sometimes I'm not gonna pay all that. I get it. Even if you got money, that's not how you want to keep spending it. Like I get it sometimes if you really can't go out. You got things you gotta do, you're tied up in time. You gotta pay a little bit more for it. I get it. But some people order that religiously, and I'm like, why don't you just go out? Just stop doing that. Unless you make more staying at home. But I still, really, for real. Lemon chicken, I think I'll probably bother him. Okay, I've seen some Uber Eats. Water bottle. Wow. Yeah, that's just drink tap water. Unless tap water is really that bad. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Honestly, I'm just hungry. I just want to eat a little bit. I talked about everything, and then there's this orange, this tangerine right in front of me right now. No, I don't do time. It's only once a month for me. Okay. Yeah. Uber pillow milk. Uber. Imagine you could Uber a therapist or someone that's willing to sit down and talk to you. But yeah. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can do that before they close. Okay. Maybe it's not KFC. Maybe it's somewhere else. But I can't wait. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Tracy, Shevlin, yeah, cool. Yeah, have a great time. Spend it with family. And I'll see you guys next week. I'll still be posting randomly here and there, but yes, not this Saturday. I'm gonna decide. I decide to take one day off. Shevlin, I know. You're like, it's not the same. Yes, I know. But I'm still going. I'm still doing it. All right. Well, thank you all. I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday then. All right. Peace.